Winter isn't the only time when a cold might sideline you and keep you from doing your job. Frankly, just a cold isn't going to keep most professionals away from the job. I once broke a pinky finger and didn't let that stop me from getting the job done. To be fair, you don't press many buttons on your camera with your pinky, but still. As much as we like to pretend we're invincible, the truth is we get sick or injured at inopportune moments, the same as everyone else. Short of having a body part fall off, I don't know too many pros who are going to let something as minor as their own health keep them from doing a job they've been contracted for. The exception is when you come down with something that might make someone else sick. COVID was a good example of this. That was a time when we all updated our emergency contact lists because a positive test result would mean we were sidelined for 2 full weeks in the early days, and then a week once the rules changed. I remember filling in for photographers and seeing the posts week after week of people looking for someone to fill in with them because they tested positive. Even outside of COVID, there are some illnesses that just aren't worth the risk of passing along, like the flu or a stomach bug or anything that turns you into a walking contagion. No couple wants to spend their honeymoon battling whatever it is you brought to their wedding. The problem, of course, is that symptoms don't always hit at a convenient time. I've heard stories of photographers powering through a wedding only to realize later they had something more serious. And they felt awful, and not just physically, for potentially exposing the entire event. I've had different friends pass out in parking lots from either their appendix bursting or a kidney stone causing so much pain they blacked out. When you have a second, you can transfer the primary responsibility off to them if you're down for the count. But if you're shooting solo that day, there's going to be a conversation at some point after you recover when the couple will want a refund for the time you weren't able to do the job they hired you to do. Having a good backup plan is important. Granted, if you're unconscious in an ambulance, there isn't much you're going to be able to do in the moment. But barring that, if you have any advance notice, you'll be able to dip into your address book of trusted colleagues for someone who might be able to fill in for you. It's always a good idea to have a few people in mind, photographers whose experience and style aligns with yours and whom you can trust to step in if needed. Some photographers even have unofficial agreements with each other, like a safety net, so no one is ever completely stranded in a worst-case scenario. If you do have any advance notice before the wedding, naturally you want to reach out to the couple and let them know what's going on. If you've broken a leg or required emergency surgery earlier in the week, finding them a suitable replacement and filling them in is going to be better for everyone if you're upfront about it. I've known people who didn't want to have that conversation, so they would just have someone random show up for a couple's wedding, much to that couple's dismay. As in most things, honesty is the best policy. I also think it's worth having a clause in your contract that outlines what happens in case of emergencies. Most couples probably don't think about what would happen if their photographer gets sick or injured, but having a clear plan in place, whether it's a refund, a replacement, or some other kind of solution, helps protect both you and them. There are resources for such language online, though I think consulting with an attorney who can help you craft a comprehensive contract is the better way to go. It's our responsibility to assess our situation and be honest with ourselves if we're physically incapable of continuing. If not, we're not going to do anyone any good if we pass out in the middle of a couple's ceremony. Plus, they would likely consider that a bad omen. I was in a situation where it was a really hot day and I pushed myself too hard and I got dehydrated. I told the story in a previous video where I apparently went white as a sheet and had to sit down in the middle of doing formals. Thankfully, the bride and bridesmaids were all nurses and took care of me for the 15 minutes or so until I was able to get back on my feet. Over the years, I've been known to find myself at a wedding or two with a bottle of Dayquil or cough syrup. I always try to bring enough water with me to ward off dehydration, which is always wise when you're running around for the length of time you do on a wedding day. I know some photographers who swear by sports drinks and others who keep protein bars in their bag just in case their blood sugar crashes or they just don't have time to eat. It's the little things like that that can keep you going when you're not feeling 100%. Another thing we don't always think about is the sheer physical demand of this job. Wedding photography is a workout. There are long hours on your feet, carrying gear, crouching, and stretching. If you're already under the weather, that physical exertion can hit you harder than expected. I've been there, and you can start to feel dizzy or lightheaded or need a minute or two to collect yourself because your body just isn't keeping up. At the end of the day, our job is about showing up and delivering for our clients, but we're not robots. We have to take care of ourselves, be honest when we can't perform at our best, and most importantly, have a backup plan when life inevitably happens. What are your tips and tricks for staying healthy and fit so you can get the job done? What's your contingency plan in case something goes wrong with your health? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your spending a few minutes with me. If you like this kind of video, please like and subscribe. If you'd like to see more videos like this, check out this other one I made for you. This is Ask a Wedding Photographer. I'm Seth K, and I'm here to help.